Well, my name is Laura Castellanos. I am an independent journalist. And where I do my job, Mexico is the most violent nation in the Western Hemisphere for doing it. My country has been torn apart by systematic violence that is generated by the darkest interest inside the state apparatus. Multinational corporations, public sector entities, and organized crime. In the last decade, this organized violence has led to more than 100,000 deaths and 30,000 disappearances. From 2003 to 2015, Artículo 19, an international organization that defends freedom of expression, noted 23 cases of disappeared journalists, 4 were women. CIMAC, a feminist group in Mexico, documented 147 cases of aggressions against women journalists in 2014 and 2015. It noted a 70% increase in such violence in the last 2 years. The aggressions has been physical or psychological, designed to suppress our work as journalists. The aggressors were public officials, criminals, and private company employees. 14 women journalists were murdered from 2005 to 2015. The fact is, being a women journalist in Mexico covering human rights violation issues is very dangerous, especially when state forces are involved. In my case, in 2008, as I saw to promote my books on guerrilla activity, books in which I exposed the Mexican state's repressive tactics, I began to experience an array of intimidations. Break-ins at my apartment being followed, surveillance outside my apartment, and telephone harassment. In 2010, while I was presenting the French language translation of my book México Armado in Paris, men broke into my apartment, ejaculated onto my bath towel, then urinated and defecated in my toilet. The only item they removed was my reporter's notebook. This strategy of entering a private space as a means of intimidations has happened to other female colleagues. It happened to reporter Regina Martinez at Proceso magazine. Her aggressors entered her apartment's bathroom too and switched on the shower before leaving. Martinez was later killed. So, I recognize our task of informing the public grows even more complicated. This, above all, when state forces that ought to protect us commit crimes against humanity. In today's Mexico, there are areas that are so conflictive where systematic violence is so prevalent that we reporters cannot even enter to do our work. At the same time, in the cities, mass media interest with ties to the government foment both censorship and self-censorship. In Mexico, cases of online attacks, including on social networks, are also on the rise. I was the object of such an aggression last year. Today, I have the privilege of standing before you, but I am not the only female journalist in Mexico who has faced this array of tactics designed to silence them, yet kept on with their work. I'm proud to tell you that in Mexico, it is we, women journalists, who are doing the widest ranging reporting on drug trafficking, human rights violations of the part of federal forces as corruption as the highest level of power. And we are also the ones who have lent a voice to the victims of that systematic violence organized. It's also clear that to carry out our work in service to society, we, the women and men of Mexican journalism, must defend freedom of expression and the citizens' right to information. Only then can we help create a more just nation that never forgets what must never be repeated. Thank you.